The Clydesdales are here, and that means one thing. It's opening day in St. Louis. The Hall of Famers, surrounded by the greatest Cardinal right there, Stan the Man. Tony La Russa embarks on his 16th year with the Birds on the bat. Cool afternoon in downtown St. Louis, sold out as you might imagine. The home opener to the 2011 season, the San Diego Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals. And along with Rick Horton, Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the broadcast booth and welcome to another season of Cardinals baseball. Al, let's jump right into it. Just how good will this team be this year?
It's going to be yet to be determined. They have a lot of question marks, but they have a lot of potential. And the one thing you like is Tony La Russa is very hungry, and he'll get these guys to respond.
Ricky, what stands out for you?
Chris Carpenter getting the first shot in this rotation. Of course, the Cardinals are going to miss Wainwright. I think Loesch and Westbrook are going to be just as important as Kyle McClellan. Pitching always matters.
All right, the pitcher today for opening day is Chris Carpenter. Only Bob Gibson has made more starts on opening day wearing the Birds on the bat than Carp. Padres and Cardinals coming up. Lewis, the bald eagle from the World Bird Sanctuary from Valley Park, Missouri, making his way onto the field here in St. Louis as Matt Holliday and Lance Berkman received a couple of the loudest ovations, but none louder than for Stan the Man.
Oh, it was awesome. What a great moment here at the ballpark. And again, Stan with the medal around his neck, really sharing it with all of Cardinal Nation. Very special moment.
Let's go back to John Hewlett down on the field.
And the people of Japan. Closer to home this offseason, we lost three important members of the Cardinals family. Mitchell Page was an instructor in the Cardinals minor league system and served as the Cardinals' Major League hitting coach from 2000 to 2004. Page's Major League career spanned 8 seasons with Oakland and Pittsburgh, and in 1977 he was named the American League Rookie of the Year by the Sporting News. Marty Marion was considered by many to be the premier shortstop of his time. Marion was part of 4 Cardinals World Series teams in 1942, 43, 44, and 46. Marion was a 7-time All-Star and the National League MVP in 1944. Marion managed the Cardinals in 1951 and remained an important figure in the Cardinals organization for many years. Drew Bauer was a native St. Louisan and lifelong Cardinals fan. Drew, who had a distinguished career in banking, was best known for his engaging personality, generous philanthropy, and his civic leadership in St. Louis. 15 years ago this month, Drew realized a dream by helping organize the ownership group that purchased the team from Anheuser-Busch. He was an active owner, serving as a director and treasurer, and perhaps more importantly, he was one of the team's most passionate supporters. Cardinals fans, please join me in a moment of silence as we remember the many contributions each has made to Cardinal Nation. And now I ask that you please stand, remove your caps, and join us in singing our country's national anthem. Here to sing today's anthem is a long-standing member of Cardinals Nation. He stepped out of the shadow of his famous father and onto the national stage, first through American Idol, and now he continues his bright path in the music industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Nico Smith.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Nico Smith, and the flyover was by the C-130s, courtesy of U.S.
Moments away from our first pitch, opening day 2011. Cardinals and Padres coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. Opening day means green grass, blue skies, and a sea of red. It means Clydesdales and Cracker Jacks. It means the boys are back. Opening day also means optimism. And Redbird Nation once again looks to Chris Carpenter to get the season started. It's a new year, a new season, a new hope for the Heroes in St. Louis. And it's right here on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. 4-year-old Landon Edmonds throwing out a first pitch to Albert Pujols, a day I'm sure that he won't forget once he understands the significance of it. And Jim Edmonds there as well.
Great to see Jim Edmonds out at the ballpark here. He's been such a big part of Cardinal history and all the Hall of Famers here, and Cardinals just about ready for action.
Saw the umpires. Jeff Kellogg will call the balls and strikes. Eric Cooper, Mike Carlson, and Tim Timmons, so a veteran group here for opening day in St. Louis. Bud Black there, he's blocked, but he was the manager of the year in the National League. Nearly guided his team to the postseason. Southwest Airlines gives us our Padres batting order. Will Venable, Jason Bartlett, Orlando Hudson, Brad Hawk, Ryan Ludwig got a nice round of applause. Chase Headley, Cameron Maben, Nick Hundley, they really like him, and the pitcher is Tim Stauffer. And now Chris Carpenter gets the opening day call here this afternoon.
Ricky said it best. When Carpenter takes the mound wearing a Cardinal uniform, he wins. And he is 3-1 in opening day appearances. Will come out there. He had that little tweaked hamstring, but that really was a mild setback. He's ready to go, and I think Tony La Russa is anxious to see what this club will bring. It's got potential, it's got question marks, but a lot of it will be what does Berkman do? Can he still hit?
Ryan Theriot back at shortstop, a place that he wants to call home. He was at second base the last couple of years, and Chris Carpenter with Wainwright out now, even a greater load on his shoulders to provide some innings and wins for this club.
Yeah, a lot of talk about Kyle McClellan and the pressure on him, but really Chris Carpenter is the one that's really replacing Wainwright in a job that he's had for many years, and that is as the ace. The other starters are just going to have to pick up the slack.
Around the horn we go. A look at the defense for the Cardinals here on opening day. Matt Holliday in left, Colby Rasmus and Lance Berkman in the outfield. Freeze, Terrio, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. And the battery is Carpenter and Molina. That's presented by Dobbs. Will Venable hits from the left side, will lead it off, and a packed house is ready to go for the 2011 season.
All things considered, you can't complain with this weather.
Cool afternoon, but you're right, Al, it's decent. And some folks were thinking it was going to rain, maybe 30 degrees, when we were talking earlier this week, but that's not the case. Venable hit .245 last year with 13 home runs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Think about how beautiful this field looks here this afternoon, too, with all the weather that's been here in the Midwest over the past couple of weeks. The grounds crew's done a great job getting ready.
Here's a ground ball hit to second. Schumacher to Pujols for the first out.
And I think one of the things everybody's anxious is, what about the defense? I think because the injury to Adam Wainwright happened so early in spring training, they were overcome that. But the interior defense, the Cardinals went after offense, sacrificing defense, and we know when you got Molina and you got Pujols, 2 Gold Glovers, you know, you've got good D at those 2 positions. Everyone else probably average.
This is Jason Bartlett. He was picked up in the offseason, and for a team that was 1 win away from going to the playoffs, an awful lot of turnover with the San Diego Padres this offseason.
Over 50% of their roster changed after that great season. Manager of the year, Bud Black, I guess, decided along with the GM that it's time to maybe change things up a bit, and Bartlett's one of those new faces. Hudson's another one, and he's set to hit next.
Well, they have definitely helped their interior defense at second and short. They're much better. But when they lost Gonzalez and they just couldn't afford to pay him, it kind of became a domino effect.
Here's a ground ball hit to short. Terrio is there. 2 away. Pair of ground ball outs. And it brings in another new face, Orlando Hudson. Ricky, what do we know about the defense with Ryan Terrio?
Well, he's really kind of talked about as an average defensive player. Doesn't have great range. More of a steady guy. He's not as flashy as Brendan Ryan and some other shortstops we've had here in the history, including the one that was wearing that red jacket early on. That guy could field a little bit, Jose Oquendo, and he'll be working with the middle of the infield especially to make sure that they get comfortable with each other, Terrio and Schumacher. This is the 5th different shortstop that the Cardinals have had on opening day in the last 5 years.
Here's Orlando Hudson. He rips it down the right field line if it pulls it foul. I don't know about you guys, but to me it's surprising to see Hudson bounce around as much as he had. Now he's dealt with some of those wrist injuries and hand injuries, and I guess that's the only reason why, because this guy's a good player.
And a very solid defensive player, has a few Gold Gloves. Appears to be a real class act. You know, not somebody that's a troublemaker that you would understand bouncing around, but it is strange that he's played for so many different clubs.
0-2 pitch is in the dirt to Hudson. He replaces David Eckstein, and for folks that are wondering, David Eckstein right now without a job.
I talked to his brother Rick, the hitting coach for Washington, and I asked him, I said, I just can't remember where David went. He goes, he's sitting at home waiting for a better offer. Had a couple offers, but it just didn't make sense because the clubs didn't have a lot of interest in him.
1-2 pitch in the dirt again. 2-2 the count on Hudson. Talk about trying to replace Adrian Gonzalez. He led the Padres in batting average. He had .298, 31 home runs in that huge ballpark, and knocked in 101 runs and then was traded to Boston.
Like they needed more offense in Boston.
They pick up Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, and that's why many feel that they are the team to beat in the American League East.
If not all of baseball.
Yeah.
But here you want to see Carpenter challenge him here. Hudson doesn't have much power, so make him hit his way on.
A 111 hitter against Carpenter in his career, and that's on the decline. A strikeout, first of the season for Carpenter in a 1-2-3 inning. A live look outside Busch Stadium. It's opening day. Glad you're with us here on Rolls in. And let's take a look at this last pitch. Was it a strike? Missouri Lottery, Fox Tracks. Let's take a look.
You see the good tailing action, and I think what helped sell it to Jeff Kellogg was Orlando went after it a bit.
Terrio, Rasmus, and Pujols here in the first, then Holiday, Berkman, Freeze, Molina, Schumacher, and Carpenter. Tim Stauffer is the pitcher for San Diego, making an opening day start. Matt Latos is injured. He would have made that start. There's the numbers for Stauffer a year ago. Very good ERA. Much of that was done out of the bullpen. Ryan Terrio takes over a position where the Cardinals really struggled. Shortstops combined for a .221 batting average last year. Brendan Ryan now with the Seattle Mariners.
Ryan Terrio is a grinder. He will work the count. He knows how to play the game. Fundamentally very sound. He's been on championships with the Cubs, a collegiate champion at LSU.
And he lines it into center field, and a sliding catch made by Cameron Maben. Brings in Colby Rasmus. I think, Rick, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Tony uses this spot in the lineup. Now, today with a righty, it's Rasmus, but many times we may see Lance Berkman hit second.
I think there's a lot of choices for that second spot. You and I have talked about Berkman in that second spot being a good thing because of his on-base percentage. Colby Rasmus is a guy certainly has a lot of pop hitting in front of Albert, so you like that. And it may depend on whether it's right-hander or left-hander, and you might see Terrio in that second spot.
I think part of the combination also is, will Berkman hit enough? Will he be the run producer they want him to be? It's in my mind, if you move Berkman to number 2, it's because he's failing at number 5.
2 balls and no strikes here on Colby Rasmus.
And Berkman is one of those typical Cardinal players that we're going to see this year. He might hit 180 and he might hit 340. We just don't know. And I think there's a lot of Cardinal players, including Rasmus. Are their careers going to go up or are they going to go down? There's just a lot of question marks other than the left fielder, the first baseman, and the catcher. Pretty sure about those guys.
This might be the first year where you say Colby Rasmus, without question, plays every day. Lefties, righties, he's in there every day.
It's part of the maturing process of a young player.
And Colby hits it high in the air, deep right center, at the track, and it's off the wall. Rasmus to second. Rasmus is on his way to third. The right fielder is Will Venable, and he's slow to get up.
Two things, Dan. I think in the regular season or later on in the season when it heats up here, that ball's a home run. I also think Venable probably tracks that down and catches it if he's in a little bit more season mode. Here he is, a long run, kind of keeps on running. He's in the middle of the zone and just really goes off his glove and then hit the wall hard, guaranteeing the triple.
And now it's Albert Pujols' turn for the first time this year. 42 home runs, 118 driven in for Pujols a season ago. 1 out and a runner at third. Up and in Albert.
You don't see this often, but ball just takes off a little bit, up and in. It does get a hitter's attention, and it opens up the outside part of the plate.
Breaking ball taken a little bit high, 2 balls and no strikes.
Albert does have 3 opening day home runs on his resume.
What doesn't he have on his resume?
That's a good point. I don't think he's ever sold tickets or worked in the stadium club. I think those 2 things he has not done.
I'll give you those. Fooled a little bit on the inside breaking ball as he was backing away from it.
472 opening day hitter. Another aspect of Pujols. Looks at a strike on the outside corner, 2-2.
Albert, a little bit slow early in spring training, but then he caught fire again. But I think he failed to miss that fastball, which he won't later.
Just missed.
All right, Ricky, I'm going to ask you right here. You got Albert Pujols, you got first base open, it's 3-2 pitch. There's no way you throw him anything hard. I mean, you're going to throw him an off-speed pitch.
I would throw him a slider.
Here it comes on 3-2. Pujols out in front,
Break the
pops
ball.
it up. Foul territory near Jose Oquendo, and Pujols does not come through.
He got away with that.
2 outs.
He got away with that pitch right there, a bit of a hanger.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Padres. Ryan Ludwig, our good buddy in left field. Cameron Maben, we saw him with that sliding catch in center. Venable is in right. Headley, Bartlett, Hudson, and Hoff, the former Rocky, is over at first. Stauffer and Nick Hundley is behind the plate. That's presented by Dobbs, and here's Matt Holliday. As Ludwig really struggled after the trade to San Diego. He only hit .210 with the Padres a year ago and did not have a very good spring. Up the middle and a base hit. A 1-0 lead for the Cardinals. Matt Holliday comes through with a 2-out RBI. I said it earlier, guys. I think he is going to have a monster season.
Well, he had a great spring training, and I don't know of anybody playing in the National League right now that I see on a regular basis that can hit the ball farther and harder with a more violent swing than Matt Holliday. He had some great games this spring, and I think he is out to prove something this year. I think he's out to prove that the investment that the Cardinals made in him was a good one.
Well, he proved it last year that it was a good one. And I think a lot of eyes on Berkman right now. But going back to Holliday, he really had a remarkable year for coming to a new ball club, signing such a huge contract. He got off to a little slow start, driving in runs. But then he became a terror. Once again, was over 100.
Padres should be sick of seeing Matt Holliday. That is his 71st RBI against San Diego since 2004.
Years playing in the same division, and Berkman has good numbers against this pitcher also.
2 balls, 1 strike.
A lot of people concerned about Berkman returning to the outfield. That is not a factor. I want to see that him establish he can still hit.
Did not have a great spring, and there was concern with the elbow as far as throwing. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner at first.
Berkman not a guy that typically has great springs, though, Al, or good Aprils for that matter. He's kind of a guy that heats up as the weather heats up.
Yeah, I think in 08 was the last time he had a good April, and we've seen him have some horrible ones. But right now, even though he's a seasoned veteran, and he's played in this ballpark and played against the Cardinals so many years, he still is going to try and do too much. Is just have to learn to back off and stay within yourself.
3-2 pitch is ripped foul.
In the early reports on Berkman, and I know folks think we make too much of this, but the chemistry factor that Berkman brings, the likability, the good teammate, the veteran presence, the guy that knows how to play the game correctly, I think that's already making a difference and paying some dividends with some of the younger Cardinal players.
You're hearing it from too many players, that they're all excited playing behind him on the running count.
And a swing and a miss as Berkman strikes out. Checking to see if that was a strike. Holliday has given the Cardinals an early lead. Play, and let's take a look at our Foxmo slow motion brought to you by the Plaza Tire Service folks. The violent swing, Al, of Matt Holliday.
Well, we always talk about keeping that head still, but you saw it was still, and then at the point of contact, because it was a little breaking ball, he kind of had the little dip in his head as he's making contact, you know, recognizing that there was a hump in that. His head kind of went with the pitch.
It is a violent swing, though, isn't it?
It really is. He swings hard, kind of like Mike Shannon used to do, and I bet he's saying right now with Chris Carpenter, there's your run, big boy.
40 years from Mike behind the microphone. 50-plus years in the organization. And here is Brad Hopp playing first base now. He can also play the outfield for San Diego. Another live look outside Busch Stadium or just inside. Folks still filing in. By the way, Matt Holliday, remember, guys, last year, Al, he was 3 for 28 with runners in scoring position at the very beginning of the season. Remember how much he struggled at the very beginning?
Very beginning. Really didn't get on track until after the All-Star break. Ended up with over 100. But you know he's geared for a monster year.
That catches the outside corner, 2-2.
Carpenter, Ricky, you know, watched him in spring training a couple times. You know, it's spring training, so you don't have that same intensity, but you can see already he's keeping the ball down. He's concentrating better on the location, in and out, getting the ball down.
The thing you always look for with Carpenter, we saw it some last year, Al, when he would roll the curveball, or when his slider and curveball weren't quite as sharp, he wasn't as sharp. So it's not just control, but can he be sharp with those off-speed pitches?
Hit in the air out to left. Holliday puts it away. Here's Ryan Ludwig.
Left fielder Ryan Ludwig.
Last year, 251 average. Part of that 3-team trade that brought Jake Westbrook to the Cardinals. And at the time, guys, we said it's a deal the Cardinals had to make. They needed pitching, but it's also a deal that looks better if you re-sign Jake Westbrook, and they were able to do that.
Yeah, and the reason I didn't like the deal, I liked what Westbrook brought. I didn't like losing the offense. And that's what happened. You know, the first 9 starts for Westbrook, because of lack of and didn't have enough offense, if he would have gotten 4 runs of support, he would have been 8-0 with 1 no decision, and they had 1 win, I think, during the time.
I think the Padres are going to grow to love Ryan Ludwig once they get to see him for a full season. We've seen enough of him to know that he's a streaky hitter, and he just unfortunately was in a bad time when he joined the Padres, did not produce for them, and they're really going to need him. They're going to need him to score some runs. Great pitching staff, good defense, but the Padres still do not have what you'd call a top-notch offense.
2-2.
And in their ballpark, it's very difficult. I mean, I think they've just accepted that we better have gap hitters. We better not go for a monster offense because our big ballpark is going to neutralize that, so we better stay with pitching and defense.
Chris Carpenter, 235 innings pitched a season ago. That was 3rd best in baseball, 2nd in the National League. And he did have a career high 35 starts a season ago.
That was major league high for last season. That 35 starts showed his durability.
And he hits Ludwig on the wrist. Opening day starts for Carpenter. This is number 6. But 5 with St. Louis. Livan Hernandez made his 9th opening day start. What a career he's had. And that's with the Washington Nationals. Mark Burley on there, the St. Charles native. Holliday and Oswald Sabathia made a start for the Yankees today. Carpenter had 1 start with Toronto and then 5 with St. Louis, and then Carlos Zambrano. Mentioned the name of Jake Westbrook, and he'll start on Saturday. It's an off day tomorrow. And the Cardinals will face Clayton Richard, who was 14-9 a year ago. Westbrook was 4-4 with the Redbirds. It's slowly to short, broken bat. Out at second, out at first, double play. 6-4-3 on the double play. David Freese due up first when we come back. Stadium in St. Louis, opening day here on Fox Sports Midwest and our Toyota keys to the season. Ricky, we'll start with you.
Well, you start with Albert being Albert. He's been as consistent as anybody that's ever played this game. If he has his typical year, you know, if things will work out. Of course, picking up for Wainwright will be a key, and Al, some new players on this team as well.
Well, that's it. I mean, a lot was said about chemistry. It's interesting to me. It seems like John Mozeliak, the Cardinal general manager, is more concerned about that. Tony gets a little testy when he hears about that, but winning cures all that. You win more games, and that chemistry is fine.
Here's David Freese. He was drafted by the Padres in 2006 and traded to the Cardinals for Jim Edmonds in December of 2007.
Big key here, Dan. If he can stay healthy, he'll produce.
At 296 last year, and if he's in this spot in the order, when you've got guys like Pujols and Holiday and Rasmus sitting in front of you, you're going to have a chance to drive in a lot of runs.
I would say he's as anxious as anybody for this season to start.
Ground ball hit to second. Hudson is there. One away.
In some ways, he knows he's got a little unfinished business. He had such a good start last year, and I just think he's glad to be back being healthy again.
Here's Molina, who's won the Gold Glove the last 3 years, and an All-Star the past 2.
And no doubt, a real strength behind the plate. A little bit of concern. They want to rest him a little more this season. Last 2 years, he's went down with that knee late in the season. And they feel they're very capable of Gerald Laird. How do you keep him fresh? And yet he's such a valuable, that bat is important, but he's so valuable. And there's Gerald Laird, who fits in nicely.
Laird, an 8-year Major League veteran who's kind of a catch-and-throw guy, known for his defense. He had some pretty good offense in spring training as well, but really when you do that job, you just got to make sure you handle the staff.
And Tony told me 2 things. He came over as a free agent. They said he was the best defensive free agent available, and maybe more importantly with the Cardinal Ball Club, he was the best at understanding that he was going to be the number 2 catcher. And that is what you talk about, chemistry, that someone has to understand that there's a thoroughbred ahead of you.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Yadier Molina. Guides it into right, and he's so good at that, Al, just spoiling the pitch. He doesn't strike out very often, one of the toughest in the National League.
has a better two-strike approach than most. A lot of guys stay down on the knob, but when you're trying to put the ball in play, you shorten up a little bit. Most of the time, you let the ball come in a little deeper, and you try to hit it to the opposite field.
Takes a pitch inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He has always had a very high baseball IQ. That's what you appreciate about Mr. Molina, not just the physical tools, but he understands the game very well.
And a ground out, 2 away. We have opening day covered from the Pujols introduction to a photo gallery highlighting all the festivities this afternoon, and you can find it right now at foxsportsmidwest.com. foxsportsmidwest.com for all your Cardinals news. Along with Al Robosky and Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We are delighted to be bringing you over 150 games in high definition this season exclusively on Fox Sports Midwest. Here's Skip Schumacher, who had a tremendous spring. Well, Skip will tell you he enjoys being the leadoff man, but Terrio is getting that call this year, so Skip is in the 8th spot in the lineup for Tony La Russa here on opening day.
Dan, it's also the fact that if you have Kobe back second, you don't want double left-handed hitters.
Absolutely.
Skip is the only player that I can recall that admitted that spring training was important to him, the numbers. Most players will say, well, you hit well, doesn't matter. You hit poorly, doesn't matter. Season starts over. But Skip believes that if he has a good spring, he has a good year. And he had a good spring, hitting close to 400.
He's so hard on himself. So it's important for him to get off to a good start.
1-2 pitch. A swing and a miss, but he'll reach first base. Throw is not in time. Extends the inning to Chris Carpenter. And we talked to Skip before the game, and he loves opening day here in the Gateway City.
It's always exciting. You got the nerves going. You got the huge Clydesdales going, and usually the Corvettes or the Mustangs, whatever they got going on that year. So it's always a lot of fun. The fans are always in it, but especially for opening day. And I'll never forget my first opening day and making the team out of spring training, and that's still one of the most exciting parts for me is making the team in spring training and opening up at home, and there's no better place to open up than St. Louis.
Skip Schumacher and the Cardinals after 2 innings of play here on Fox Sports Midwest with a 1-run lead. Glad you're with us here this afternoon. Opening day here in St. Louis, the best in baseball. The Hall of Famers here, the Clydesdales, Stan the Man. Doesn't get much better. A glorious day for baseball. A little cool here in the Gateway City, but we'll take it. Sunshine and Stan the Man. Cardinals with a 1-0 lead. Welcome back. Third inning. And this is Cameron Maben. He's been with Detroit, Florida, and now the San Diego Padres. Bounces one to third. Easy play for David Freese. One away. Governor Jay Nixon is with us, and I know you are one of the biggest Cardinal fans around. What does opening day mean to you?
Absolutely. First of all, it's a nice, sunny, warm day.
Yes.
Compared to what the winter has
right.
been. It's the beginning of a new season, a great season, and everybody across Missouri and across the country that are Cardinal fans are excited about today.
Give me your memories of growing up a Cardinal fan and having a chance to watch some of the greats that have ever played this game.
Well, I mean, 3 stadiums ago, Ray Sadecki and folks were pitching, and I was watching. I saw Stan Musial hit a home run in the Grand Avenue Stadium. So a lot of memories with our family and friends as we came up here with our gloves and watched games.
How about the Medal of Freedom for Stan the Man? And for you, what does that mean to see that happen and the government get involved in such a special day for him?
Absolutely well-deserved honor, not only for his time on the field, but also for everything he did off the field. He's a real person that people across this country will always respect.
There's a broken bat lifted out to center, and Colby Rasmus is there. Now, Governor, I understand you're a pretty big Missouri fan.
Absolutely.
What are we going to do with this basketball coach?
Well, at the break I offered it to you, but you said you had
no.
a gig
I'm happy
already.
here. I'm happy here.
I think we need to keep aiming high the way we have before. I think that Matt Painter was a great coach. I think Mike Anderson was too. We need to continue to keep the program at that level. I'm confident they'll get it, but the bottom line is that it's a big money deal, and we got to find the right guy. So
with 2 outs, here is Tim Stauffer. And I know you have worked on a smoking and non-smoking initiative in the past with Adam Wainwright. What else are you doing with the Cardinals and maybe some of the players this year?
Right, we'll be doing that again with Adam this year. We're working out the details of that. He's got a little more time to work on.
Unfortunately.
Very unfortunately.
Yes.
What a great guy and a role model. Like Stan the Man, another guy that's off the field is a great leader. We'll continue to do that. We're also working on getting kids outdoors again. Our second year of our Children in Nature initiative, also our 10,000 Garden initiative. We want folks outside this summer enjoying Missouri.
How often do you come to the ballpark?
Well, not enough anymore. Legislature's in session. I don't get here that much. Hopefully, as it gets warm this summer and we get through the budget and everything else, we'll have a little more time to come out here and actually watch a game. But
absolutely.
The front half of the season's hard.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and 2-2 now on Tim Stauffer with 2 outs and nobody on. Well, what do you think of the Cardinals' chances?
Well, it was nice to see how they get that hit early. I mean, it seemed like last year it took him a while for him to get warmed up. And then Berkman jacking that ball down the line, pulling the ball the way he did this early. That's a good sign for a quick bat from him for us.
2-2. Ground ball hit to one of the new faces, Ryan Theriot. Governor, enjoy the day. We appreciate it. Let's bring home a winner.
You bet.
Governor Jay Nixon. Cardinals on top, midway through 3. Lead as we move to the bottom of the third, opening day here in St. Louis. Take a look at our Foxmo. The grip of Chris Carpenter.
Real good look at there, the two-seam fastball, the sinking fastball. He's got those two fingers on the seams and comes across, comes right down, pulls down on it, and a little bit off to the side. And then you get that, hopefully, produce that strikeout, his second of the day.
A lot of ground ball outs first time through the order for Chris Carpenter. He's allowed one man to reach base. That was Ryan Ludwig as he hit him, and then he was erased on a double play. Ryan Theriot with a base hit out to left. Remember, it was Maben made a sliding catch on Theriot to take a hit away his first time up.
Well, Theriot's hit the ball hard twice. This time he gets better results as he gets his base hit. Mislocation, it was supposed to be away. It's on the inner part of the plate. He just turns on that. Now Theriot has been, he's a 284 major league hitter, but he's a singles hitter. The last 3 years, he's just had more singles than anybody else.
Singles are a lot better than outs.
They're a lot better than strikeouts.
It's pulled foul down the right field line. Colby Rasmus tripled and then was brought in on a 2-out base hit by Matt Holliday back in the first.
This right-hander, Tim Stauffer, gets the opening day nod because the ace of the Padres staff, Matt Latos, not available because of injury. And he has not fared well against the Cardinals. 0-4, 4-pitch pitcher. And they say, Dan, that his velocity is really coming back. He was one of those guys, an interesting story that we heard about how when he was signed out of the University of Richmond, he got hurt right away and did something we've never heard of any player ever do before.
Well, he had a signing bonus, and at that time, the GM, Kevin Towers, handed over millions of dollars, which is what he was supposed to get at his position and where he was drafted. And Stauffer, to his credit, went back to the organization and said, I don't feel right in taking this money. I've had an issue with my arm. And so he returned that bonus. And good for him that he's fought the injuries and fought his way back to the major leagues and now becomes an opening day starter with the Padres.
He was San Diego's first-round pick and 4th overall.
So you know that was a big one.
And he had a shoulder issue. But that organization was pulling for him. They got enough of him. They said, well, we're still going to sign you. And somehow you think that now that he's gotten to the big leagues, they're kind of rooting for him to recover that money.
It's a full count now on Colby Rasmus, 3-2. Theriot the runner at first.
One of the reasons why Theriot is in that leadoff spot is he is really more of a threat to steal. Cardinals don't run much, but you look for him to end up around 20 stolen bases.
Really we'd like to see the same ultimately out of Colby Rasmus. He's a guy that should steal 20.
Rasmus on base for the second time as we flash back to last September. Tim Stauffer, 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs. They all were earned. He walked a couple and struck out 2. The Cardinals got to him and won that ball game, and those are games down the stretch that the Padres really needed to win.
And Dan, he really didn't. Came out of the bullpen, didn't make made about 7-8 starts, and that was really the only bad one. Take that one away, his ERA would be in the ones.
Here's Albert Pujols. Pujols bounces into a potential double play. 4-6-3. And it's up to Holliday again with 2 outs.
Pretty dangerous thing to do to walk a hitter in front of Albert Pujols, but here's the result. As you got the little phantom play at second base as the shortstop Bartlett just goes over top of the base, or does he?
You just slide your toe right across the back edge and doesn't interfere with your momentum and you return throw to first.
Used to call that the neighborhood play.
I think he touched it, but we've seen the neighborhood. Some of them are big.
It's big neighborhood.
Here's Holliday, singled up the middle his first time up with 2 outs. Bounces one to short. Jason Bartlett, the former Tampa Bay Ray, is there. The Cardinals waste a good opportunity here in the third. Terrio picks up his first hit as a Cardinal. A one-run lead as we move to the top of the fourth here in St. Louis. And you can take in a game from some of Busch Stadium's most popular seats. It's the all-inclusive areas, and you'll get a great view of the game, plus all of your food and drinks included for one great price. All-inclusive tickets at Cardinals.com. New initiative this year is dynamic pricing, where the price of tickets varies with the different variables throughout the season. Could be weather, could be a pitching matchup, whatever the case may be. But this Saturday, pavilion tickets are only $8. That's it. This Saturday, pavilion tickets only $8. There's a pop-up left side. Holiday will give it a look, and it's out of play.
I believe there was a club that started out on the West Coast. I think it was the Giants, Dan.
Yes.
And it became very,
well, that's why they're
very
doing it, because
good.
You win a World Series.
Yeah, that's right.
Dynamic
but I think
means a World Series.
But I think it became a thing that the fans loved, and because you could get good deals on games where maybe it wasn't a premium game, and for fans that maybe couldn't afford normal games, they could see their favorite team play on a given night, and I think it was a real hit out there, and the Cardinals are doing it for the 2011 season.
And we should remind folks that this is also kids opening weekend on Saturday and Sunday. The Matt Holiday bat, and also that's on Saturday, and also the kids t-shirt on Sunday. And the best part about that is that kids 15 and under get also a free ticket to a future game in either April or May. So come on down to the ballpark this weekend. Good seats still remain. Will Venable grounded out to second. His first time up, the leadoff man for the Padres. Venable here, then Bartlett and Hudson. Line drive down the left field line. That's a fair ball, and the first hit for the Padres comes here in the top of the fourth. Leadoff double. Fox Tracks brought to you by Chevy. Let's take a look at that last pitch.
Plate coverage. Hit the ball where it is. Set up away, and he got the ball up a little bit. He just a nice efficient stroke, just kind of made contact with it, slapped it into the left field corner.
Now Jason Bartlett grounded out to short his first time up. The Cardinals have turned a double play off the bat of Chase Headley back in the second. Interesting to see bunt here in the fourth inning of a one-run game.
I think they're used to trying to manufacture runs. Any chance you could get, a guy like Carpenter, you figure you're not only going to get a few chances, and lead off double, move him to third, try to just get a RBI out of Orlando Hudson.
You push the ball to the right side, he's going to get to third. You know, you've got the shortstop kind of shadowing behind the runner at second. You've got Freese was playing in with less than 2 strikes, so there's hitting room on the left side. A lot of different things where you just have to show button initially.
It's back in mid-December. Bartlett came over from Tampa Bay. 6-player deal. Grounded to third. Nifty play by Freese. To first. Out there. Outstanding play by David Freese on the back end.
Good base running as Venable followed the throw and gets over to third base, so he gets over there. Here's David Freese. Makes that play. We've seen that he can be a better than average third baseman. And really, we did miss his glove and his bat when he went down to injury last year. Close play over there. You only have the time for a step or two, really a dive, and playing on those ankles, surgically repaired ankles, he makes the play nicely.
Well, that's do or die. If that ball gets past him, that's a run for the Padres. And that is not an easy play to make on the backhand.
We talk so much about, and now you're right, the offense that Freese can't provide. But Felipe Lopez, case in point, was not the third baseman the Cardinals needed a year ago.
No, not at all. And when you have a pitching staff that pitches to contact, really stresses ground balls, that's a problem.
Fly ball. Shallow. Who wants it? Rasmus cuts in front of Holiday. Throw to the plate, not in time. We're tied up at 1-1.
I think the right guy catches the ball there. Rasmus with the stronger arm did not have a very good angle as he caught that ball flat-footed. Did not have his momentum moving towards home, and I don't think Holiday has a shot at him either. So I think Rasmus, in my mind, the right person to catch that ball.
Because it's young, and you got a young center fielder, you really do want him to take charge. I agree with you. Anything that Kobe can really take charge of, you want him to do it, because that was one of the things he did last year. He laid back on some of those decisions that worked to the disadvantage of the Cardinals.
Might want to tell his left fielder while he's going over there to catch it.
Right, to help, and then Holiday can vacate it, and then he has a chance maybe to circle it if he could have, but very difficult. The left-handed throwing, going to his right, it's hard for him to get into a good throwing position.
I do, Dan, expect a big year out of Colby Rasmus. I think Rasmus was a lot looser in spring training.
Not looking over his shoulder.
Not looking over his shoulder.
That's it on a play. You just saw Dave McKay. The coaching staff is back with the exception of Marty Mason, who's now in the minor league system with the Chicago Cubs. New bullpen coach for the Redbirds. But Dave McKay is back, and this staff has been together for 16 years.
That was Derek Lilliquist, who has replaced Marty. A promotion from within the organization. A lot of these guys, especially guys that were injured, had worked with Derek down there in Jupiter as they were kind of rehabbing their way back to health.
Off-speed pitch, ground ball to second. Scooped up by Schumacher. RBI for Orlando Hudson. We're tied up 1-1 midway through 4. At Bat, the 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. Rick Horton, Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin. Opening day here in St. Louis. First opening day for Lance Berkman, not wearing an Astros uniform. 12 years with the Stros as he pulls that foul. Great numbers in his career, 327 home runs, 5th all-time among switch hitters. The last time that he started in the outfield on opening day was in 2004.
I think a lot of people are making a big deal out of that. I think he'll be fine there.
Up the middle, base hit for Berkman.
That's what he needs a little more than anything else, is get a little luck offensively. He's running very well.
And even though he's a veteran player, you know he wants to get some early hits. You know he wants to show that he's got something left in his tank. Cardinal fans, of course, have seen him hit over the years when he was with the Astros, but you want to see him get some good luck at the beginning, and this ball sneaking under the glove of Orlando Hudson.
And Dan, he's been very realistic. As Berkman told me, he goes, a lot of people concerned about my elbow, my calf, my knee. He said, I'm concerned, can I still hit? And it's very simple. Either I hit and I still can play baseball, or I go home.
Line drive into right field. That drops in for a base hit for David Freese. We saw the other day how Freese, and we saw him last year, is so good at going to the opposite field, and he's one of the guys in this lineup that can hit for power to the opposite field too.
Well, he has a knack for driving in runs, and so much of that is that inside-out stroke, and he has tremendous power to the opposite field. But as a pitcher, and Ricky, you can elaborate on this, if I have a pull hitter, he's easy to pitch to. But if I have a guy that will spray the ball around, if he'll take the ball to the opposite field, then I have to move the ball around. And the more you start moving around, the more when you start trying to pitch inside, you make mistakes and leave that ball inner half, and they can turn on that and hit it out.
And that was not even a terrible location on that pitch from Stauffer, up and in, and probably expecting to be able to jam Freese on that. But when you've got a guy that knows how to handle that pitch on the inside, not only handle it, not only doesn't he get jammed, but he hits the ball hard the other way and gets a base hit. Now you wonder, how do I get this guy out?
He's anticipating throwing that pitch to get to jam him, to get him to roll over and have him hit the ground ball to the left side and get his double play and get out of there.
Yadier Molina, 0-1 pitch. Base hit in the left center field. Here comes Berkman. Cardinals back on top. 2-1 St. Louis.
He just muscled that ball as he got jammed a little bit. Remember, he goes so well the opposite field, but he's strong enough. He muscles it, lifts it over there. Berkman puts his head down. He starts coming home. So he's running okay, especially on that surgically repaired knee.
He's not the fastest runner, but he does run hard. And we talked a lot about in spring training Berkman's physical conditioning that he went through this offseason. I think that's got to help him mentally as he goes into the season thinking, you know what, I can withstand maybe even a bad start. I know I'm in good shape. I feel young again, and he looks great.
Dan, a lot of guys make a mistake when they get older. They think they have to back off a little bit. When you get older, you have to work harder.
Here's Schumacher. And a 1-0 pitch. Double play ball. Hudson, Bartlett over to first, double play. 4-6-3 double play, and it brings up Carpenter. Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark is the only hotel that gives you home field advantage. Visit HiltonSt.Louis.com to book your Cardinals ticket package. Coming this summer, the new 360 rooftop.
You can see they're building that right now on the other tower. That 360 rooftop.
Let's see if Carpenter can't help himself. 2-1 Cardinals as we play here in the bottom of the fourth, opening day at Busch Stadium.
Double plays hurting the Cardinals here in the early innings. Albert hit into a 4-6-3 in the third inning, and now Schumacher here in the fourth. A couple of really promising innings have really turned south quickly.
Just joining us, Albert Pujols came up in the first with a runner at third and only one out. Couldn't bring him in. Holiday then drove in Colby Rasmus to make it 1-0. San Diego tied it up in the top of this inning. And Carpenter, shallow right, diving catch made by Venable. 3 consecutive singles for the Cardinals, and Yadier Molina picks up. Since 1901, what is the longest stretch of seasons in which the Cardinals won on opening day? Our AT&T trivia question. 5 straight from 1976, 1980. This is the first time that the Cardinals and Padres have met on opening day. Ryan Ludwig was hit by a pitch his first time up and takes a ball. We're underway here in the top of the 5th. Ludwig had his number retired by UNLV. A running rebel this past off season. He wore number 18 for UNLV.
One of the good guys. When Carpenter hit him, you knew it was unintentional, but I'm sure Ludwig goes, oh no. And a lot of little injuries.
A lot of wrist injuries,
too. Yeah,
those
wrist injuries, and those are the kind you break that hymate bone, and there's no protection there for a hitter.
Chris Carpenter, by the way, was inducted into the Arizona Fall League Hall of Fame. I'm not sure you really want to be inducted into that Hall of Fame, but he was inducted into that.
Oh, I think that's an honor. And he would probably be one of the first class. I think that'd be interesting to find out if that was the first class, because that hadn't been around that long.
It's taken low and outside, and Carpenter can't believe it as he looks back into our home plate umpire, and it's a leadoff walk. Every Sunday during the Sunday ball games, make sure you bring your kids here, because it is the Ice Cream Sundays, courtesy of North Star. For ticket information, 314-345-9500. And this Sunday, kids can run the bases after the game. It's the Ice Mountain t-shirt giveaway, and kids can also get a free ticket, so come on down.
Now the Cincinnati Reds are back to their old old school, as they were trailing by 3 runs going into the bottom of the 9th inning and came back to win it against Milwaukee's closer.
Axford will be a big question mark for that Brewers club and how good they are this season.
Sinking liner that's caught by Matt Holliday in left field. Ramon Hernandez with a home run to win it for Cincinnati. Dusty Baker was 1 vote shy of being the National League Manager of the Year. That went to Bud Black, who we see here today with San Diego.
Bud Black's team had no chance, and as you said, they were in contention until the last day of the season. Won 90 ball games and won the majority of those on the road, or played as well on the road, if not better, than they did in the home park.
And talking about Cincinnati, Al, and I know you and I may disagree on this, but I know a lot of folks are expecting, and I think you might be expecting Cincinnati to not be the favorite in the division. I still think they're the team to beat. I like their young pitching, and they certainly find ways to win, as they did already in game 1 of the season. But I think that's a club that's going to be tough to beat.
They are my pick.
They are your pick?
Yeah, they are my pick.
Well, we agree. I did not know that.
To be honest, and even though that they put 6 pitchers on the disabled list,
right?
But they're not going to be there long.
Of course, Milwaukee will be good.
I thought the Cardinals were a better team last season, and I think the Cardinals have improved this offseason. I think another year of experience for that young Cincinnati ball club, that they're going to be that much tougher. And the Cardinals still have to prove to me that they can overcome some of their deficiencies.
And maybe prove to themselves.
Check swing by Maben.
They better prove it to themselves first before they worry about me.
That's right.
Cameron Maben, one of those young players that San Diego picked up in the offseason. He's been with Detroit, Florida. He was part of the Miguel Cabrera and Dontrell Willis deal of a few years ago. And for a guy that was so highly touted, he's already on his 3rd team.
One of those can't-miss guys that to this point has missed.
During spring training, I had the opportunity one day to sit with Trader Jack McKeon, and we were talking about players that, that 5-tool player, the guy that, he's got all the talent in the world but just can't put it together during the baseball game. And Jack and another member of the Marlins go, Maben. He's got all the ability in the world, and for baseball's sake, you hope he gets it together and can put it all together. But right now, a couple other organizations have lost patience in him.
And it's funny to think about losing patience in a guy that's only 23 years old.
Ricky, you have kids. It's an instant gratification society now.
Yes, I do. And yes, it is.
Three and 2 the count on Maben. Cardinals have turned a double play. That was off the bat of Chase Headley back in the 2nd inning.
One of the problems that Carpenter had last season, and it usually happened around the 3rd or 4th inning, and we're playing here in the 5th now, is he'd have one bad inning. He'd just get on track for 20 pitches or so.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. How about a double play? You bet. No! Ball out of the glove of Schumacher.
Wow, the easiest of plays. And they give a stolen base. So swings right through it. Look at Yachty just taking his time because he knows he can gun it down there. They get Ludwig out. Schumacher just trying to tag it with the glove, and just, whether a little bit of extra help from Ludwig kicking it out of the glove or not, or with his arm or nothing, but
he looked like he did raise his right arm
just
a bit,
slightly.
But it's okay if you can get away with it. I think Schumacher was just really kind of trying to take it easy on that tag, and for whatever reason, the ball just pops out, and that's the kind of thing you don't like to see happen with Skip, because he's a guy that does tend to worry about things maybe more than he should.
No doubt.
He'll beat himself up, because especially if that run comes around and ties this game.
8th place hitter in Hundley.
Skip had a game in spring training where he made an error with 2 outs, and Jaime Garcia gave up a number of hits after that against the Mets. And Skip kept saying it was his fault. It was his fault. Well, if Garcia gets any of the next 4 or 5 guys out, it's not that big a deal. Garcia on the right there, sitting with Kyle Loesch, did not have a very good spring training.
Ball lifted out to deep left. Holiday looks up, and this one is off the wall. Run will score, throw into second base, not in time, and Hundley delivers.
That's one of the things that Garcia realized that he has to avoid, because he gave up 7 unearned runs after that.
Right.
Skip's out there trying, and later he did the same thing. He had a balk, and then he gave up a home run on the next pitch. Now a hanging, breaking ball right up there in the eyes. Luckily, it stays in the ballpark. Change positions, and we have a tie game.
Get first base open, dealing with the 8th place hitter and the pitcher on deck. So here's Stauffer now, a chance to help his own cause as we're tied up at 2-2.
Ricky, I don't know about you, but as Dan just presented that situation,
it's a good question.
But I always want to go after the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you'll get beat with that strategy, but it's better to pitch aggressively.
Well, the good part of that is if he's the 8th place hitter, he should be the 8th place hitter for a reason. And you want to get him if you can, because then you've got the pitcher to start the next inning. And that's the philosophy, that you get the pitcher leading off the next inning. You're halfway through. It feels like you're halfway through that next inning.
Exactly. And it was a poor pitch that beat him.
Schumacher, another chance here. Makes the play easily. San Diego strands their first runner of the afternoon, but they've tied it up. It's 2-2. Top of the order coming up midway through. Compliments of Scott's. A couple Hall of Famers sitting in there. Red Shandy's front row, and with the glasses there, top right, Whitey Herzog. Is that Bruce Sutter next to him? I can't tell. No, that's not him.
It's Kathy's husband, who handles all of Whitey's golf tournaments and everything.
Whitey's a hard guy to keep straight.
Oh, yeah.
She does a great job.
And I'm sure Bruce would have been here, but his wife is quite ill, and that's really kept his travel down.
Here is Ryan Theriot. One of the great things about opening day in St. Louis, the Hall of Famers here. There's Bob Gibson. it's always wonderful to see Stan the Man make it back to the ballpark.
And there's a number of Cardinal alumni here sharing a suite together. Cardinals were kind enough to invite all the local former Cardinals, many of them who were from St. Louis originally, were honored before the game here.
That's right.
Terry Robinson, of course, Kyle McClellan, Scott Cooper,
TJ Matthews,
Tom Henke from Jeff City area, and then Terry Robinson.
A ball and 2 strikes on Ryan Theriot. He's 1 for 2 today. Lined out to center. And also singled back into third. Little bloop out to shallow right. Orlando Hudson there to make the play. So that's the first out here in the bottom of the 5th of a 2-2 game. Cardinals have out hit San Diego 6-2. Buy discounted tickets for the Blues game on April 5th and get money off on select Cardinals games. Call 622-BLUE for details. How about the Blues last night? They put up a 10 spot on Detroit.
That's not that easy to do. I couldn't believe it.
10 goals against Detroit. There's Colby Rasmus, who has tripled.
Oshie back.
Single. Cam Jansen picked up a goal last night. No, Oshie is not back.
Yeah, that's why I think that was his last game of abbreviated suspension.
2 balls and no strikes.
Happened to be visiting the post-game set with Pat Paris and Bernie Fedurko, and I said, "Is this what happens every night?"
Base hit out to left. So you're the good luck charm, huh?
Well, I guess that's the kind of way I was trying to take credit for that one night.
There you go. A tough start here for Albert Pujols. He came up with a runner at third and only 1 out in the first.
How about Colby going the other way?
He popped out and then grounded into a 4-6-3 double play in the third. And now Rasmus on base for the 3rd time today.
2 hits, run scored, and also perfect batting average as he's 2 for 2 with a walk. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, Colby at times can get a little too pull conscious. You can get a lot of hits out there the opposite field. That ball was more of an inside-out stroke, so it wasn't that it was pitched away. But if you start hitting that ball the opposite field, then they'll start coming in, and they'll miss location. You'll hit a lot of home runs.
As you mentioned earlier, much like the David Freese hit the other way, he let the ball get deeper into the strike zone, closer to the catcher before he actually hit the ball. You've got to trust your hands if you're going to let the ball get deep in the batter's box like that.
Great hitters are not afraid of being jammed. They always trust that their hands are quick enough that they'll get there. Lesser hitters, it's like a badge of courage. They don't want to be jammed, so they get themselves out.
Pujols grounded to short, out at second, out at first, double play, 6-4-3. Albert is 0 for 3 and grounded in. Sunday right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Jaime Garcia will make his 2011 debut Sunday at 12:30. Our coverage begins. That's our What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Ownership group of the Cardinals, David Pratt there.
Sure do miss Drew Bauer.
Sure do.
What a classy gentleman Mr. Bauer was, and our condolences to his family, and really just a great Cardinal fan.
There's a strike underway here in the top of the sixth. 2-2. Venable, Bartlett, and Hudson. Will Venable doubled and scored back in the fourth. Any concerns that we have with, we'll start with you, Rick, Jaime Garcia, after what you saw in spring?
Well, what I saw wasn't very good. He gave up a lot of hits in both outings where I saw him, but his stuff wasn't bad. I mean, you got the sense that it was not a physical thing. It wasn't that his velocity was down, and he didn't really use his curveball very well or his changeup in the games that I saw. I just think he's a guy, even though he's young, I think he's mature beyond his years. So I'm not terribly concerned with him. I think it's reasonable for people to be concerned about him because he's only had one solid year in the big leagues. But I just think he's got the kind of head on his shoulders that he'll figure it out.
Nasty pitch, strikeout number 3 for Carpenter. Now the gentleman there on the left, Kyle Loesch, outstanding spring. We'll see him make his debut against the Pirates.
Here's good breaking ball. And a lot of times, you'll watch good breaking balls to hitters that almost hit the back foot.
See Carpenter struggle with the location with his fastball here this afternoon.
He only has one walk. It really hurt him. He hit Ryan Ludwig in the second inning and walked him in the fifth. Ludwig ends up being the tying run as they bat here in the sixth inning. But he's been a little erratic with the command of his fastball, but has not been hit hard at all. Padres making both of their hits count.
I think you could say that from what I saw in spring training with a lot of the pitchers, particularly the starters, struggled with the fastball, maybe, pinpointing it in and out and left it up and over the middle of the plate far too often.
Little liner that's caught by Schumacher. Sunday, April 3rd, we've been telling you about this. All fans ages 15 and under receive a red T-shirt featuring a vintage Cardinals bird and fun Cardinals facts. Wear it all season long, courtesy of Ice Mountain brand natural spring water. Paid admission required. For tickets, call 345-9500. After the game, kids can run the bases. Part of Kids Opening Weekend. You get a free ticket to an April or May home game as well. Saw Orlando Hudson turn that double play off the bat of Pujols. Al, he is so smooth on the turn.
Well, he really is. I mean, multiple Gold Gloves, play that position. They changed their double play combination, and it really should help their pitching staff.
For 1 today. Picked up the RBI in the fourth and takes a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs and nobody on. Hudson signed as a free agent. San Diego, his 5th major league stop. He's been with Toronto, Arizona, the Dodgers, and Minnesota a year ago. Hit .308 this spring. And he walks. Second walk by Carpenter.
Here's a little bit of pitching mechanics 101. Chris Carpenter, who struggled a bit with the command of that fastball here this afternoon, walks Hudson with 2 outs. One of the things you need to do with your front arm is get it out of the way. You can't leave it out. You've got to pull it in towards you. It's called clearing. And so he's got the front elbow and glove out front, but he's got to tuck it in and let the backside replace it. And a lot of young pitchers do not clear their front side well enough, and it's one thing that all big league pitchers do.
Schumacher puts away Brad Hopp, and Holiday leads it off when we come back. you by Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of day. By Kia Motors. And by AT&T. Rick Horton, Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you. Opening day 2011 here at Busch Stadium. 2-2, and here's Holiday. Matt got things going for the Cardinals. First inning with a 2-out RBI base hit up the middle to score Colby Rasmus, who's had a nice day. Colby's been on base 3 times. Holiday is 1 for 2. No Matt Latos today, but Tim Stauffer has pitched pretty well.
He really has. He's got the double play when he's needed it. It's been the difference for him. Scattered 7 hits and kept the ball in the ballpark. We've seen 2 balls hit today that I think we all would agree would be home runs a month and a half from now.
Understand the weather this weekend should be nice. Mid-60s. Come on down to the ballpark. 3 balls and 1 strike. All the snow that we've had the last 7 to 10 days, the field is in tremendous condition. 3-2. We were talking earlier about Albert Pujols, and so many fans want to watch him take BP. You watch Matt Holliday take BP, the violent swing that he takes, and the ball just explodes off his bat.
People at Port St. Lucie were buzzing over the batting practice he had there in spring training. He hit one over their fence in left center field. They have a scoreboard there.
Up the middle, base hit.
And where folks were estimating that it was 450 feet plus.
Well, the thing is, he and Albert are just so strong, and you look at these, what could have been. Latos should have started this game as Adam Wainwright if they were both healthy. Of course, Latos only out 15 days with a shoulder strain, and Wainwright out for the season. But Adam, I talked to him a little bit before the game. He's in great spirits. #1 cheerleader, and he'll be ready for next season.
Are you surprised he's with the club?
No. I'm happy he's with the club. I don't like it, especially when you're a leader like this, when they say, okay, I'm out for the season, I'll take my paycheck and I'll go sit at home and do nothing. You still get therapy. Therapy's so important in that, and he wants to be with his team.
There's Lance Berkman, who was single today. Also scored back in the 4th, struck out his first time up. 1 for 2.
We see some guys are injured. You kind of say, well, I hope they don't put him around.
That's right.
And other guys, when Carpenter was out, I always wished he would have been around to help the maturing process of some of the young pitchers.
1-1, ripped into right. Holiday will stay put at second base. And here come the Cardinals again. Runners at first and second, and nobody out. Nice to see him turn on that pitch. I want to remind you, this Saturday we pay tribute to 2010 Cardinals All-Star Matt Holliday. 12,000 fans 15 and under receive a 28-inch Rawlings baseball bat designed to look just like his. Paid admission required. For tickets, call 314-345-9500. And again, Saturday, pavilion tickets only $8. Part of dynamic pricing.
It's this time right now that you're going to really watch these bullpens. 80 pitches thrown for Stauffer. Carpenter's over that, not much. And just by going out there with your pitching coach, you let that bullpen get a little active. You got a lefty and a righty working.
I'm on live right now.
Here's David Freese. Falls the righty. They have one lefty in their bullpen. Runners in scoring position a year ago. A .324 hitter was David Freese. He's 1 for 2 today.
One of the 2 Padre left-handers. Joe Thatcher's on the disabled list, so that really limits what Bud Black can do left, right, with a Cardinal lineup that's got good pop from both sides.
We haven't talked about it, but Al, how would you look at the Cardinals bench with some of those young players that made the trek north, like an Alan Craig or a John Jay?
I told you last year those guys were 4th and 5th outfielders, and that's what they are. And I mean, you like what they bring in a platoon situation, but you want to see Berkman out there every day. One of the things the Cardinals, when you get past Freeze, you got a lot of singles hitters. So this is a real key situation, and this is really what his forte is, that he's the guy that you want up here right now, because he's the guy that can hit for the ball for extra base power and drive in runners if they don't walk him.
On 3-0, looks at a strike, 88 miles an hour. Stauffer not overpowering with his fastball by any means, but he sinks it. We're told that he has a very good sinker and can get the ground balls, and he's gotten double plays when he needed to today.
Sinker, slider are his best two pitches. He also throws the changeup and curveball, but we've seen mostly fastball, slider here this afternoon. His fastball hasn't had as much sink as I remember. Kept a couple balls up in the zone, but very key situation here with Freeze, the count in his favor.
A 3-1 pitch. Uh-oh. They've got Holiday picked off. They read it perfectly.
You just had a feeling that there was going to be a possibility the runners were going to be moving, but you have to make sure he delivers the ball to the plate, or what happened to Holiday. Watch here. Goes right there. He goes on first move. One of the things that we used to practice all the time that you never see more is the bases loaded pickoff.
Well, that inside-out move never seems like it works, and it just did.
The fly ball into right. Catch is made. And Berkman is back to the bag at first, and now this threat looks to be dying on the vine here with 2 outs.
Not a lot to show for the 9 hits so far. Yadier Molina can change that with one swing of the bat, of course, but the Cardinals not taking advantage of a lot of their opportunities. And this is a very good pitching staff for San Diego. We've mentioned it a couple of times, but their bullpen's strong, and they're certainly strong at the end of their bullpen with Heath Bell at 47 saves last year. So you want to take advantage of every opportunity you have in middle innings.
They have a very strong bullpen. So it's not just the closer. They got the setup men to help out too.
Outstanding.
Chad Qualls, the right-hander down there. We've seen him, in the league for a while. So last season, base running was a problem for the Cardinals. They worked on that in spring training, but it's funny how it's not the rookie that many times gets picked off. A lot of times it's some of your better base runners or your regulars.
Fouled back off the bat of Yadier Molina. Yadi with an RBI base hit back in the 4th. Also grounded out.
Got a knuckle curveball grip.
Sure is. Makes me think of Jason Isringhausen. Got a nasty knuckle curve. Just missed on the outside corner, 2-2. See, Isringhausen was a tremendous influence with the young players of the Mets. They want to see eventually what he might be able to do this year. Back where it all began for Izzy. 2-2, hit down the right field line, slicing foul.
Well, every coach in the big leagues will tell you that they rely upon players to help them coach. And there are times where there's a separation between maybe it's age, maybe it's generation, but if you're Mark McGwire and you're the hitting coach, or Jose Oquendo trying to teach infield play, you realize that there's a little bit of a gap, and so you need one of the players who's in the trenches with the guys who are current players to help preach the same things you're preaching. And if you don't have players like that, it's very difficult to win.
Fought off again by Molina.
Saw Mike Jorgensen here at the ballpark today, and he currently works in the front office with the Cardinals. And you think of guys like Jorgensen and Steve Braun and Bob Forsch and players that were just incredible teachers at the player level.
Pitch number 92 on its way. A broken bat hit to third. He'll get the lead man. And the threat is over for St. Louis. We move to the 7th. It's opening day here at Busch Stadium, tied up at 2. Fence. Earlier today, David Freese with a nice play. Took an extra base hit and a run away. Eventually that run came around to score, but it's our Home Depot doing more on defense. David Freese. 7th inning rolls in, and Ryan Ledwick will be the hitter. We're tied up at 2-2. The Cardinals about hit the Padres 9-2. Carpenter has been very sharp today. 3 strikeouts. He's walked 2. You just get the feeling the Cardinals, it feels like they should be up by about 5 runs, doesn't it?
Exactly. He's not taking advantage of those opportunities. You just hate to see a game like that slip away. Carpenter having a solid outing. And you might suspect that this would be his last inning.
I do suspect that. You know, he's 89 pitches. He's due up second. I think the Padres are a little more anxious to go to their bullpen than the Cardinals are.
1-2 on Ludwig.
And the Cardinals bullpen, we haven't talked much about that, but with Ryan Franklin at the end of the bullpen, that's kind of the status quo situation. But the real question, I think from my point of view, is who's going to be the guy that eats up the innings, the effective innings, the important innings that Kyle McClellan used to eat up, and do it effectively and do it with as much consistency.
Now, we've talked to a number of scouts as Ludwig strikes out. There's a look at Kyle McClellan. And they'll tell you that the hardest guy to find is that middle reliever that's reliable and that can bridge the gap from your starter or your 7th inning to get you to your closer in the 9th. And certainly Kyle McClellan was that guy. He was reliable, and also it was almost like having an extra lefty out there. He could get left-handed batters out.
We've gotten into specialization where you've got a bunch of 1-inning guys too. Where Kyle was also gave you that he could go multiple innings if he had to. Carpenter kind of, I think he knows that this could be his last inning, so you really kind of concentrate and make sure that you finish it where you have a chance to win.
Pitch count above 90 now for Chris Carpenter. 94 on the day. A 2-2 game and a 2-1 pitch. But in the air, out to center. And backing up, Holiday. Today's carsoup.com email, the booth question comes from Jeff Amos. And he wants to know who is the favorite to win the National League Central. If you have a question, all you have to do is go to carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email to booth questions. We talked about it earlier. You guys like Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's interesting you think about where the Cardinals fit in that. There's a lot of folks that think that the Cardinals are the choice, and some think that they're a fourth-place pick. So all the question marks we're talking about the Cardinals, the bullpen, the Lance Berkman, the starting pitching, I think a lot of folks have that same thought. We're just not sure how good this Cardinal club can be, and I think that's why, in my mind at least, the Reds are the choice. I don't think Milwaukee's going to be as good as folks
even
think
with
they
their
are.
pitching.
Yeah, I just don't. I think Milwaukee has not found out yet how to win, and I'm not sure they're ready yet. They've got some talented players, and it never seems to come together for them.
1-1 pitch. Lifted in the air, out to left. Holiday backs up, puts it away. Carpenter, 7 strong innings here on opening day. Time to stretch. 2-2 game. And tradition of baseball's opening weekend. Padres battle the Cardinals. The season premiere of Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 3 in high definition. This is our Mid-America Chevy dealers call to the bullpen. Guys, this is one that got away and did not work out. Luke Gregerson came over from the Cardinals to San Diego. Pretty good numbers a year ago, but they really like this guy. Had 80 appearances. And he was part of the trade that brought Khalil Green to St. Louis.
He ended up being the player to be named later, that infamous phrase. And there are a few people on the list. And Tony had Gregerson pitch one spring training game, and after the game he told me he wished he hadn't pitched him because he looked so nasty. He's afraid that the Padres will take him. And he said, I don't want to lose him. And that's exactly what happened. The Padres saw the potential of this young pitcher. He's only at AA, I believe, at the time with the Cardinals, but he's made a quick rise to the big leagues.
Set a major league record. He had 40 holds a year ago.
Yeah, that's it. It's not only the potential, it's reality. He's very good. And you're talking about trying to find that setup guy. Here's one.
A broken bat by Schumacher and a foul ball. Shatters his bat. Skip is struck out. Back in the second. Bounced into a 4-6-3 double play. And he dropped what would have been a potential double play that led to a run to tie this game up at 2-2. So Stauffer gives the Padres 6 innings. Exits with this game tied up at 2-2.
Al talked about how good this Padres bullpen is from really top to bottom. One of the reasons you can be so good as a starting staff as well, you're not afraid to leave them in or take them out at the right time. You don't leave them in until they get hurt and get beat up on, because you've got so much confidence in that bullpen. I think that's what we see in this Padre club and the way Bud Black manages the team.
And interesting, as we try to talk about the Cardinals, that's Batista, 40 years of age. And he's going to, remember originally he was going to be a guy that could be the sixth starter, the long man, but capable of even closing on a day when Franklin was tired. And here we are in the first day. We see him, pitching in a tight ball game here in the eighth, potentially a tie ball game in the eighth inning.
One of a few new faces out in that bullpen. Brian Augustine, another new face. Brian Tallett, the left-hander who came over from Toronto. 3 new Cardinal relievers, and we will see the first of them in Miguel Batista next inning.
2-2. Base hit by Schumacher into right field. So the Cardinals have 10 base hits here on opening day. As Schumacher went down to get this pitch, they've out-hit San Diego 10-2 in this game.
You see the tremendous movement on that pitch, but remember, down and in to a lefty, that's where they want it. So even though it was moving, the location down and in is in the wheelhouse of a left-handed hitter. Now Jay has been called back in Descalzo. So you think right here, is it more of the bunting situation by pulling back John Jay?
I think you have to bunt here. 7th inning. Give Terrio and Rasmus a chance to give the Cardinals the lead and potentially Chris Carpenter the victory.
They'll hold it first. Cheat in over at third. Scalzo squares and looks at a ball. Our crowd today, 46,368. 4-6. 3-6-8.
Great crowd. Opening day. Not disappointed again, as this is the best venue in all of baseball for opening day. And they're seeing a good ball game. One that I think all of us, when you look at the discrepancy in hits, think it should be a lot more lopsided than it is.
10-2. 2-2 game. Bottom of the 7th. Scalzo gets the bunt down. Gregerson doesn't even look at second. Fires a bullet over to Hudson, covering at first.
Normal bunt defense for the San Diego Padres. They're going to charge with the first baseman and the third baseman and make it very difficult for the bunt to be successful. The second baseman goes to cover the bag at first. The shortstop is responsible for second. The pitcher, of course, has to charge straight in. That's the A bunt defense, and it works to perfection as far as they're concerned. But more importantly for the Cardinals, they move the runner down to second base.
But Dan, you're right. Pitcher did not look the runner to second.
I thought he may have had a chance.
Well, I think I agree. You got to get one, and the best shot was at first, but he threw a seed to Hudson.
He really
tested his Gold Glove.
Well, normally that's the gutsiness of the catcher or not. He's the one that can see whether or not the runner had a good jump or not. The pitcher often doesn't even know that. He's concentrating on the pitch, so the catcher has to yell 2-2-2 if he thinks you've got a shot, and why not look anyway?
I was going to say, even though the catcher's calling first, you know how hard it's hit, you still have plenty of time to take a look.
Big gap in the left center as Terrio is showing bunt. Terrio today was robbed back in the first on a sliding catch by Cameron Maben. He singled into third and popped out back in the 5th. Carpenter closed the book on him. 7 innings, 2 runs allowed, only gives up 2 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 4.
Never been a big fan of bunting with a go-ahead run at second base in this situation. It doesn't make any sense to me. You've got 2 shots to get that run in. I don't think a bunt really helps you.
Good pitch, 1-2.
Gregerson got a little movement on it. He's got, his action. There's that breaking ball, but good location down and away, falling out. Looks and tempts a hitter, but then it falls out of the strike zone. You can't do anything with it.
Schumacher representing the go-ahead run out at second base. A ball and 2 strikes, and the Cardinal leadoff man, Terrio. Hits it to the right side. Hopp will take it, steps on the bag, and it's up to Colby Rasmus. Again, San Diego with 1 lefty in their bullpen. What'd you think about maybe using that lefty here?
I would if I didn't have as much confidence as I have in Luke Gregerson. I think the kind of year he had last year, I think you just leave him in. When he's good, he really is unhittable, and I think you've got to have confidence enough that he's going to get some left-handers.
Totally agree. You would be using that bullet. You may want to have a better shot of turning Berkman around to the right side later on, but I think it's just how much confidence you have in this pitcher, Gregerson.
2 outs, runner at third. Colby chops 1 foul. In-game box score, and if you're just joining us, Albert Pujols, he hasn't done much. He's 0 for 3, grounded into a pair of double plays, but everybody else in this lineup for the most part has contributed. Pitcher spot, you see there, Carpenter was 0 for 2. They sacked him the last time, so Carpenter did his job on the mound.
You can't always depend on Albert. And when you can win and Albert not contribute, offensively, then you really know that you got your team can build. It's not looking for him and only him to be your savior.
Rasmus has tripled and scored back in the first. He walked in third and singled in the fifth, going the other way.
Remember, there's one time Albert didn't hit into a double play. He had a runner, Colby, at third base and only 1 out, and popped up to foul territory to third. So,
and having said
Holiday came through for him.
And having said that, we still wouldn't want to have to pitch to him with the game on the line. So dangerous.
No balls and 2 strikes on Colby Rasmus. Takes a pitch outside. Pujols on deck.
Man, you use that 1 bullet against Rasmus, and the left-hander comes in to pitch to Rasmus, loses him. You know you're not going to let him pitch to Albert, and that's the problem with having just 1 left-hander in the bullpen. Be interesting to see the kind of job Brian Tallett does this year in the Cardinal bullpen, giving them perhaps an upgrade from the left side.
The 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Got ahead of Colby. Now he's trying to be a little too fine. And Colby showing better plate discipline. Laying off a couple pitches that maybe a year ago he would have gone after.
Rasmus rips it but pulls it foul. Stays 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Colby really needs to cut down on strikeouts.
Two outs, runners in scoring position. Last year hit just .213. The 2-2. When Rasmus was out of the lineup, it seemed like about 2 weeks last year, coincided with that really bad stretch for the Cardinals and basically took them out of contention.
That horrible 2-8 road trip. To Washington,
Houston was in there, Pittsburgh.
And it just, that was the Cardinals' downfall. They couldn't beat sub-500 teams.
Good at bat here by Colby, 2-2.
Really good at bat, very good swings. You can tell he has a good sense of the plate coverage. You mentioned, Dan, and the catcher Hundley going out to talk to Gregerson. I think he realizes he's making some mistakes in this at bat too, and he better bear down here because it doesn't get any easier with Pujols and Holiday to follow.
How about this from a pitcher's perspective, Al? You've shown your stuff right now. You've seen 7 pitches, 2-2. What do you want to come with here?
I think you go back with something that's sinking down and away. The fastball had that appearance that it's going to be, it looks like a slider.
And he got Colby, strikes out. It's a big strikeout there for Luke Gregerson, leaves Pujols on deck. And the Cardinals again strand another runner. They have stranded 6 here on opening day. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. Rick Horton, Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you. It's opening day here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Cardinals open up a homestand of 6. And then it's off to the West Coast as Miguel Batista is part of our Chevrolet Call to the Bullpen. Signed by the Montreal Expos all the way back in 1988. And last year, 58 appearances. And really gives the Cardinals some insurance. Setup guy, long relief. He could close, he could start. There's a little bit of everything.
And he's been around. He's bounced around a lot of ball clubs. Arizona, Kansas City, Toronto, Arizona, Seattle, the Washington Nationals last year. And he's a guy that has shown some durability. He was in 58 games last year, and Cardinals certainly need somebody that is durable and can go that 1-2+ innings out of the pen from time to time.
Yeah, he's entering his 24th professional season. Made his Major League debut with the Pirates as a Rule 5 draft pick back in '92.
Most Cardinal fans will remember him for a Sunday afternoon, the old Busch Stadium, and he and Tino Martinez. Little brawl back in 2003.
We were pretty critical of him at the time because he decided to throw a baseball at Tino from about 15 feet away in the middle of that brawl, which we thought was probably not an appropriate thing to do, but he's on our side now.
Here's a question for you. 24 professional seasons. You think he even still gets the butterflies on opening day?
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt.
If you don't, you better go home.
Here's a ground ball to the right side. Schumacher, nice play. Takes a hit away from Hundley.
There's a nice play right there. Skip, you know how tough he is on himself. I'm sure he's beating himself up. They didn't hold on to that throw on a stolen base attempt. That is why we're at 2-2. So that leadoff man is so important to keep him off base. Goes well to his left, and now he makes that play. And instead of Hunter hitting, it's Cantu.
Jorge Cantu.
This guy's an interesting pickup.
Going back to Skip for just a moment, a guy that he worked out with in Southern California. Blues fans will know him. Paul Correa, a hockey player. And Skip was telling me that Correa really put him through some extensive workouts, a lot of stretching, and trying to improve his movement laterally.
More agility exercises than necessarily strength. You know, you look at Skip, and he's just, I mean, he is built, he's strong, he's solid, and very, very strong player, and he kind of backed off a little bit on the excess weights and just went for the agility, and I think that fits more of a baseball player mode anyway.
You might be wondering, well, why with a hockey player that recently was playing, well, Correa had to retire because of concussions, and he's living out there on the West Coast. He played a number of years in Anaheim, so he and Skip became buddies, worked out together this offseason. Back to the top of the lineup, and Will Venable.
Jorge Cantu may be a valuable addition for San Diego, and it came through with that base hit there. Batista, remember last year, kind of a comic when Strasburg was injured and was bailed out of a game. Batista, had to make that emergency start, and everyone booed him, and he made a offhanded comment that he said, well, I understand why they're booing me. It's like, like I'm Miss Iowa, not Miss Universe or something.
Miss Iowa didn't like that.
Oh, she did too. She got a little publicity, and actually he became a judge in the Miss Iowa contest because of that. He was invited to, Miss Iowa in the USA competition. And she did come out and throw a first pitch to him later on.
All's well that ends well. The end.
1 ball, 1 strike on Venable. Doubled and scored in the 4th. Struck out swinging in the 6th and grounded out to second. Carpenter just joining us. 7 innings, 2 runs, 2 hits, walked 2, and struck out 4.
Very good and deserved to win. was Carpenter. And how about the fact that Mr. Batista has published a book of poetry? It's on my shelf.
You've read it out?
Oh, yes.
The 1-2 pitch.
That
fouled
book,
back.
That book, of course, Dan, is called Sentimientos en Blanco y Negro, so I'm sure I'm going to see that on Al Roboski's shelf.
Oye, ¿qué pasa? Para aprenderme español en the calles de México.
You might want to get that fixed. I know what you said.
I don't speak quite as fluent as you do.
No, that's good. I speak it, I just don't understand it.
1-2 pitch. Almost got away.
It will be interesting to get to know Batista throughout the course of the season. He is a little bit of a deeper thinking player than most baseball players are. He's very artistic and very thoughtful kind of guy, and involved in a lot of different charitable enterprises, and it'll just be interesting to get to understand his personality as the season unfolds.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Matter of fact, in 2003, he was voted the #1 good guy in Major League Baseball by the Sporting News.
And I know, talking with some of the people from the Nationals, they have great respect for him, really enjoyed him. And you listen to him talk about how much he has wanted to pitch for Dave Duncan and play for Tony La Russa. He's wanted to do that for years.
Runner goes on the 3-2. It's a fly ball out to left. That'll carry to the track, and the catch is made by Holiday. That just kept going, didn't it?
We've seen 2 balls carry that way in the last couple of innings. One was off the bat of Mabin, and now Venable, and you could see how Holiday thinks he's got a beat on it and has to take about 4 or 5 steps backward and catch the ball over his shoulder. You could tell that ball carried further than Matt thought it would.
It almost looked like he wanted to get stationary at one point and then realized he had to keep on drifting back. And he has improved dramatically as an outfielder.
Here is Bartlett with 2 outs and a runner at first.
We saw some of that improvement out begin last season. The Cardinals struggled some with their outfield defense, and they started to work really hard at that. And some of it was for Colby, but Matt Holliday was working as hard as anybody else with Dave McKay. We saw him out early before games, and I think it really has paid some dividends.
1-0 pitch. Good pitch in on the hands. 1 ball, 1 strike. Albert Pujols will be due up first for the Cardinals, looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th. Tough day for Albert with a couple of ground balls that have resulted in double plays, and he's 0 for 3.
Positive vibes, positive vibes. How many home runs did he hit on opening day? 3 in his career, right? Or soon to be 4 or 4?
I know it's been 3 days, 3 opening days. There might be a total of 4 that he's hit. Pujols is due up first, and then Holiday and Berkman for the Redbirds. Holiday a 2-hit day, as well as Lance Berkman. 2 balls and 1 strike on Jason Bartlett with 2 outs. A little bit low, 3-1. Hudson on deck.
That pitch was right where Batista wanted it. If you make contact with that pitch, you're going to pound it to the ground, get a nice little ground ball out. But you have to have the hitter swing at it.
(3-1) is a base hit into left, and the go-ahead run is now in scoring position.
(3-1) pitch. He has to come over the plate, and he does just that, right in the heart of the plate, middle in. And a good swing by Bartlett, and you get to this point in the game, and frankly, you're just glad that Adrian Gonzalez is playing in Boston.
Yes. Isn't that the truth?
Not to take anything away from Orlando Hudson. We talked about him a couple of times today. I thought there was a good shot at one point of Hudson being a Cardinal. Thought he might fit well into the Cardinal club a couple of different times.
A couple different times, he's right. That was prior to really Schumacher becoming the second baseman. Trevor Miller has gotten up and throwing in the Cardinal bullpen.
With Minnesota a year ago, played 128 games. Foul back. Hudson has an RBI today. Sac fly back in the fourth. Walked in the sixth. And was called out on strikes against Carpenter in the first.
Never had a lot of power. 6 home runs last season.
A 2-2 game here in the top of the eighth. With 2 outs and 2 on. Hudson pops it up. Freeze will give it a look, and that'll find the seats. Now he has him 0-2. Ricky, what are we looking here with Batista on this pitch?
Well, you got to stay out of the heart of the plate. 0-2. You got to press the advantage and throw the pitch that you are most comfortable with, thinking you might get a swing and a miss. And you, at times, will be setting up the next pitch. Times where you'll throw the fastball off the plate inside and then go back away. And there are times you'll just try to punch him out with a breaking ball in the dirt. The key is don't give up a hit. 0-2.
In the dirt.
A lot of times managers will find pitchers for giving up 0-2 base hits. Well, it's one thing if they hit a line drive,
right,
but the guy hits one right off the end of the bat, squibbers here and there. Gibby used to always say, "Do I get a $25 credit for striking him out?" You know.
Rasmus playing fairly deep at center field.
Big gap in left center,
considering the situation.
Well,
the dirt.
See, that's one thing too. With a guy like Hudson, you can feel confident to to elevate the ball and try and get that fly ball to Death Valley out to center field, because he doesn't have the power to hit it out. But you do not want to run this to a running count. So 3-2, where the runners can be going with 2 outs and full count. So this is the pitch right here you want to retire him on.
2-2.
To me, this is somewhat telling that we've seen Batista in this frame. Tony has a lot of confidence in him, but
runners off with his pitch, and he walked him. Bases loaded. So in his first appearance as a Cardinal, Batista's given up a couple of base hits and now a walk, and the bases are loaded for Brad Hawk.
He'll come out, and Trevor will be coming in.
For Trevor Miller. He comes in, the pressure cooker here on opening day. Bases loaded, 2 outs in a 2-2 game.
One-man appearance.
Before this pitch, trying to position the infield and the outfield just the way they wanted it.
Straight away. Now, I try really straight away, but anything maybe left and right or a little bit on towards the lines, particularly more in left field.
I'll tell you, one of the hard things when you're doing that, positioning the outfielders, is you want to make sure the right person's looking at you.
Yeah, I was going to say,
that's a long way to communicate.
And then you got 3 guys
start to move at the same time. Moving. Talking to me?
2-1. You saw the numbers there, and many times, Tony will use those numbers as a guideline to his decision making. And Brad Hawk 3 for 4 against Trevor Miller.
I think it was time to get Batista out of there, and Trevor's been so good for Tony. Time to just say, I got confidence in him.
Lifted in the air to center.
Paid off.
Miller gets out of the jam. Number 5 leads it off when we come back. It's it off for the Redbirds. He's done it before on opening days. April 10th of 2006, launched one against Milwaukee. Did it again against Wandy Rodriguez. But this afternoon, it's been a rough day for Pujols. He is 0 for 3. He's grounded into 2 double plays. And in the other at bat that he didn't ground out into a double play, he had a runner at third and only 1 out and couldn't bring him in. He's 1 for 6 against this new hurler, Mike Adams, a right-hander that worked a career high 70 games a year ago.
Previously had been with Milwaukee and with San Diego about the last 3 years.
Part of the lineup here with Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman.
You can keep the league, Dan, hitting less than 200 against you. You know you're nasty, and he has just figured it out in San Diego, and whatever the adjustment he made coming over from Milwaukee was, been a good one for him. He's very solid. Pujols at the plate. Not a good afternoon, as you've said, but he has always had a flair for the dramatic.
Oh, has he? 1-0 pitch to Albert. 2-0. The amazing thing, too, is the fact that the times that we've seen him, and this is his 11th opening day, he can struggle for an afternoon, but yet it's that one at bat. He never carries an at bat to another one. 2-0 pitch. That's not an easy thing to do because this is a game of failure in many ways.
You have to be strong mentally to be able to handle the frustrations that you have. You talked about Schumacher's error early on. Later, he makes a nice play in the hole.
You're constantly challenging yourself to handle failure, like you said.
The 2-1 is hit out to center. Maben is back at the track and makes the catch. Now Adams can collect himself and say thank you very much that stayed in the ballpark.
Start breathing now.
Yes.
Can't breathe too much because it's
that's right.
You got Holiday. That's right.
You got Holiday, and of course, when you look at Albert and then you look at Matt, everybody knows these are two of the best hitters and two of the most dangerous hitters in all of baseball. That's why you went out and you got the Berkman to try and hit behind Matt, so you can't really walk those two or pitch around them.
2 hits for Holiday today. Came up with 2 outs and singled up the middle back in the first for an RBI. Also grounded out to short. He singled back in the 6th and then was picked off at second base. That was a 3-1 pitch coming to David Freese with 2 runners on and nobody out back in the 6th, and Holiday was picked off.
Yeah, we're joking about that breathing out, but that's part of being an athlete at this level. A hitter, a pitcher is learning to regulate your body, and you can get amped up in situations like this, and you can start to maybe breathe a little bit too heavy and get a little bit too excited, and that's going to take away from your physical effectiveness.
Changeup misses low and away.
Funny to think that you actually have to teach somebody how to breathe, right?
Sure. No, it's extremely important. Or when to breathe. Guys breathe at the wrong time, and it's sort of a sequence.
Deep breath, relax.
Lifting weights and things of that nature.
Right.
Holiday, right center. Maben back. He looks up, and it's gone. It sneaks over the wall. Holiday, a 3-hit day on opening day. It's a solo homer.
You talk about a guy being strong. Look where this location was. This ball doesn't get, 20 feet over the ground. Look at it down there. Look at how he goes down and changes his swing to go get that pitch. And then it's all arms. Just so physically strong. Really fooled by the pitch, but so strong that he goes out there, makes contact, and then that tremendous strength as he falls through to line it out of the park.
Berkman pops it up left side. They'll give chase, and it's out of play. The fans want a curtain call for Matt Holiday.
They're going to get it eventually. Yachty's trying to say, hey, go out there. Go out there.
Certainly not in his personality to be very showy.
No, and
he's the opposite.
He has to be talked into it, and it's sort of you're not trying to show up anyone, and that's not his personality either. But you can't deny your own fans either.
Berkman, a 2-hit day. How did that ball get out?
I don't know.
Just sheer strength. Sure wouldn't hurt if Lance Berkman picks up another hit.
2 balls, 1 strike, 3-2 Cardinals. Changeup, and he was out in front.
He has so much motion, arm motion, and he's that tall, lanky body, and it gives you an awful lot of arms and legs where he can fool a lot of guys with that motion.
Two is hit out of play. So Ryan Franklin now getting loose.
And Dan, he didn't just get up. He started at the inning. So he was going to come into this game if it was tied, but now he prefers the chance for a save.
Little bit low, 3-2 is another changeup that time to Berkman. This time he stayed away.
You could fool him one time, but after you kind of see that arm motion, you kind of see what, how it looks. You can lay off it a little easier the second time around.
Strikeout of Berkman. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Just got over the wall to give the Cardinals a 3-2 lead.
And in that little shrubbery, and then bounced forward into the stands.
David Freese with a base hit today. One for 3 on the afternoon. Oh, and 2. Just watching Franklin, as Al told you, he's been up, he's been getting loose, not throwing right now, just standing on the mound and waiting. And Freese strikes out. But Matt Holliday with 2 RBIs today, a 3-hit afternoon on opening day, and this home run
Stadium. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Rick Horton standing by. We'll have Cardinal reaction straight from the clubhouse. Tony La Russa live, and Dr. Horton will break it all down. It's all coming up after the game. Ryan Franklin on to close it out for the Cardinals as we send it back to Dan and Al. Guys?
Jim, thanks. Good to hear from you again. Ryan Franklin is now 17 saves shy of becoming just the 9th player in the history of baseball to have more than 100 games started and 100 saves. So he's called upon for the first time here in 2011. It'll be Ludwig, Headley, a switch hitter, then Cameron Maben. Cardinals have the lead of 3-2. Ryan Ludwig has been hit by a pitch in the 2nd, walked and scored in the 5th, and then struck out back in the 7th. First pitch. Oh, caught by David Freese down at 3rd. I'm not sure that Freese knew he caught it.
Well, it's a reactionary position. You jump up, you try to time it. He turns around to look like he's seeing it down the corner, but I think it was hit so hard he felt it.
Good play by David Freese.
But that's what your defense can do. It can pick you up. And one pitch, one out.
Out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, Ryan Franklin, now 38 years young. And he has stated that he wants to continue pitching after this year, after initially making some comments that he thought this would be his final year in the big leagues. Little fly ball, left field. Holiday is there. And when Ryan Franklin is on, Al, you usually see quick outs, as Matt Holiday is our player of the game. Brought to you by Budweiser, 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs. But you know, Franklin, and Tony will tell you, can go back to back to back at times because he gets those quick outs.
And outs and out, but many times we were accustomed to seeing little weak little ground balls, you know, doing it in such efficient ways. But a couple balls hit, but they've been in the outfielder's gloves, so be it.
Maben, fly ball, center, at the wall, and it's gone. This game is tied. Cameron Maben has tied it up with a solo home run with 2 outs here in the 9th.
What were you saying? Really thought when that ball left the bat that it was going to be just a fly ball out. Hanging breaking ball, and he gives it a ride. Young man, we talked about his 5 tools. He got all the ability in the world, and he just showed you something right there in a key situation tying this game.
Nick Hundley, the hitter, tied up at 3-3. Hundley fouls it out of play. Busch Stadium now quiet. Home run hit, 417 feet.
Pair of right-handers warming up, probably one if it remains tied. Heath Bell if they take the lead.
Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, the Cardinals will have Yadier Molina, Skip Schumacher, and John Jay, who took over in right field.
Chad Qualls if it remains tied, and Heath Bell, their outstanding closer, we had 47 saves last season, second most if they take the lead.
Two and two. The air has been let out of the ballpark right now. Fans are on their feet, anticipating a home opening win. Now we're tied 3-3.
So have to work a little harder for that opening day win.
2-2 pitch. Hits him. It's the second Padre that's been hit today. The other was Ludwig by Chris Carpenter.
Ball just takes off, runs inside. To Norfia is going to pinch hit for Adams. First saw Chris with the Pirates, wasn't it? Or was it Cincy? One of them.
That pitch is taken low. Outfield very deep and straight away.
No doubles defense. You'll give up a hit in front of you, but nothing over your head.
Little bloop down the right field line. Foul ball. Yeah, Denorfia was a guy, Al, that you might remember with Cincinnati. Then he went to Oakland for a couple of seasons. Played in 99 games last year with the Padres. Cardinals were 1 out away. One and two.
Still about hit San Diego 11-5.
A 2-2 pitch. Reaches forward, a fly ball into right. John Jay is there, makes the catch, and we head to the bottom of the ninth. Cameron Maben, a home run to tie it up. 3-3 on opening day. Had 8 home runs in 82 games, and here on opening day with San Diego, he homers for the first time. That ties it up at 3 apiece. Chad Qualls is into the ball game. Saw him with Houston and Arizona, Tampa Bay, and now with San Diego.
Signed with San Diego as a free agent after splitting last season between Arizona and Tampa. Very capable late innings guy.
Go back to when Houston made that run and was competitive with the Cardinals. Their bullpen was just outstanding. And those guys like Qualls and Wagner, Dotel.
They the 7 and 8 inning guys to get to their closer.
Russ Springer. That's a fair ball, and Molina is retired. Qualls now 32 years old, from Austin, Texas. Skip Schumacher, who is struck out, grounded into a 4-6-3 double play, and singled off of Luke Gregerson in his last at bat. Chad Qualls had 27 games with Tampa Bay a year ago. Also 43 with Arizona. Little tapper. Hudson. 2 outs.
Notice, Dan, so many times a little squiver like that, it's such a tough play for the second baseman, but when that ball got by the mound, Hudson was already on the grass, yes, ready to field that ball. Made it very simple for him.
Up to John Jay here in the bottom of the ninth, 3-3. John hit .221 in spring. Remember when Ryan Ludwig was dealt, John Jay saw the majority of the playing time and he just took off.
He hit 300, and if something were to happen to Berkman, you'd see a nice platoon between Jay and Alan Craig. John really showed that he could, hit coming off the bench. When he was in the lineup, he hit well, and he could play all 3 outfield positions.
14 RBIs this spring, and he also took away 2 home runs. And in talking with the Cardinals personnel, they feel comfortable putting him in right, center, even left. Very good defensive player. Shoots this one foul and out of play.
Cardinals don't score here. We'll see Brian Tallett, the left-hander, 6'6", soft tossing left-hander.
A 2-2 pitch. Off the glove of Qualls. Chasing it down. John Jay is safe. Picks up the base hit.
Nice recovery from Qualls and an accurate throw. Usually you're telling him to put the ball in your pocket because you're going to throw it away, and made it a close play over there. Qualls, of course, is mad that it goes off his glove and he wasn't able to secure it, but he can scramble for it. From the backside, throws over, and a close play.
Both teams have stranded 6 runners today. The Cardinals have out hit San Diego 12-5. I know a lot of folks are just getting home from work and just joining us, so get you caught up to date. Chris Carpenter, 7 innings, 2 runs allowed. He was terrific. Matt Holliday, a 3-hit day. Lance Berkman, his Cardinal debut with a pair of base hits. Cameron Maben tied it up in the 9th with 2 outs, nobody on. A solo shot off of Ryan Franklin. In the air to right, and that's caught. So extra innings on opening day. We head to the 10th. It's 3-3. out of Midwest City, Oklahoma. 6'6", 220-pounder. And he was with Toronto a year ago. Signed as a free agent with the Cardinals. He made 34 appearances, 5 starts with the Blue Jays last season. He's also a college teammate of Ryan Terrio's on the LSU National Championship team of 2000.
Yeah, that's where he makes his home now in Louisiana. Gave up an awful lot of home runs last year. They said he was much better, you know, and facing left-handed hitters. Kept them to a 176 average, and that's why they are looking at him as a lefty specialist.
Top of the lineup for San Diego: Will Venable, Jason Bartlett, and Orlando Hudson. Have to go back to 1992. Extra inning game on opening day for the Cardinals, a 4-2 loss to the Mets. And a swing and a miss. Strikeout for Talent.
Good pitch right there. And on the hands. Locking him up right there. Not a fluid swing at all. Tying him up.
Cardinals have used Carpenter, Bautista, Miller. Got out of a bases loaded jam. Ryan Franklin got the first 2 outs and allowed a solo home run by Cameron Maben. Tied up at 3-3. Jason Bartlett singled back in the 8th and then left stranded. Cardinals will have Colby Rasmus, Albert Pujols, and Matt Holliday.
Albert get another shot to do something. 0 for 4. You don't see too many 0 for 5s, do you?
No, you don't.
Let's make sure it's a tie game when he comes up.
3-0 pitch. The Talent was drafted 3 different times without signing. Back in 1996 by Florida, the Yankees in 97, Pittsburgh in 99. Off-speed pitch, got him out in front, pops it up into center. Colby's there, route number 2. Cardinals were not great in extra innings last season, below 500. The one that Tony scratches his head about is sub 500 teams.
Right. Cardinals did what they had to do against winning ball clubs. Matter of fact, in their own division, they were 12-6 against the Central Division champion Reds, but sub 500 against sub 500 teams.
The Cardinals actually had the best record in all of baseball against those above 500 teams. That's amazing. Yet they struggled against the sub 500.
Yeah, normally you sit there and you say play 500 against the good teams and dominate against the weak ones.
Hudson pops it foul and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. So here's what we're talking about. The best in baseball at 37-23 against teams 500 or better. Off-speed pitch. Did he go? No.
This crowd has waited a long time to see Cardinal baseball, and they just don't want to wait too much longer. They want to see a win.
Cardinals have out hit San Diego today 12-5. Redbirds have stranded 7. Padres have stranded 6. been a game of missed opportunities for the Cardinals.
Most definitely.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
He hit here or there, stayed out of those 3 double plays. A pickoff of a runner at second base with runners at first and second, nobody out.
And it was a 3-1 pitch coming to Freeze.
Yeah. Which, you know, is one of those little mistakes of being overly aggressive. That is, bottom line, it's a mistake.
Another 2-2 pitch to Hudson. Here it comes. On the inside corner, strikes him out. Good work by Talent, his Cardinal debut. A year ago, former Twin, and he has a unique delivery, as you'll see here, as Colby Rasmus will lead it off, tied up 3-3 here in the bottom of the 10th. Colby on base 3 times, a triple, a walk, and a single, struck out back in the 7th. Sidewinder. This right-hander. Colby here, and then Pujols and Holiday. Two balls and no strikes.
And it looks like he's going to throw submarine style, and then that arm comes up a little bit.
Three and 0. Two career walk-off home runs, and one of those against San Diego. Colby, a career 400 hitter against the Padres, and a leadoff walk. Pujols fly to deep center last time up. 8 career walk-off home runs.
Just talking about missed opportunities. Cardinals have had a bundle, but one swing of the bat, you can forget about everything.
Many of the fans are on their feet for this at bat.
Do not get picked off.
First pitch to him. Pujols breaks his bat. Hits it to short. It's another double play. Albert grounds into 3 double plays. And it's up to Matt Holliday.
That's been Holliday's day, but let's look at the third double play. The runner was going, so a very close play there at second, but they get him out, and then no question at first.
Alan Craig has moved to the on-deck circle. It's occupied by Talent. The first pitch is hit out of play by Matt Holliday. Holliday, big afternoon. Pair of RBIs, 2 singles, and a home run. It's the first time that Albert Pujols has hit into 3 double plays in a game. Two career walk-off home runs from Matt Holliday. That last one against the Cubs was a line drive home run into the bullpen in right field. And he had a walk-off slide against San Diego when he was with the Colorado Rockies in a dramatic win for Colorado. Game that propelled them into postseason play. They continue that miraculous run all the way into the World Series.
And you can see the motion of this right-hander. You only see him once or twice a year. I think it'd be very tough for you. You just don't really pick up his release point. Kind of arms and legs coming all over the place, and slings the ball up there.
Walked the first man he saw. Colby Rasmus gets Pujols to ground into a double play. Now 3-2 on Holliday. Craig on deck. That'll find the seats out of play.
Matt got the Cardinals on the scoreboard with an RBI single back in the first. Gave him a lead with a solo home run in the 8th. What will he do here in the 10th?
Another 3-2 delivery. And he walked him. It brings up now one of the hottest hitters from the spring in Alan Craig. Hit .359 with 3 home runs and 11 RBIs, and he's on the opening day roster for the 2nd consecutive year. Remember, he was coming out the bench this time last year, and it was a bit of a struggle for him early on.
Well, we still have to find out if he can play off the bench. We know he can hit when he's in the lineup. He's hit at every level, you know, when he's playing consistently. And when he got a lot of playing time last September, he hit well. And made the ball club for the 2nd consecutive spring, but found out last year that playing very sporadic, being that just pinch hitting or getting a start once every 10 days. He had never done that and didn't do well at it.
Craig pops it up down the right field line. Is it playable? And is it caught? Yes, it is. Will Venable reaching into the stands, and he grabs it away. Souvenir and makes the play. Sends us to the Waiver claim from Arizona. Led the team's relievers with 13 strikeouts this spring. Had one of the final decisions for Tony La Russa and John Mozeliak and Dave Duncan, but they like what they see.
They really do, you know, and the ability that he could go multiple innings, probably one over some of the other guys. Probably was going to be in the rotation at Memphis, but finds himself, he's not a major league debut, it's his Cardinal debut.
And a fly ball that's hit out to left. Off the bat of Brad Hopp for the first out. You can see where Augenstein, you see that 22, I think, of David Eckstein, where he would be tough on right-handers. And we saw that this spring. He was pretty good against the right-handed batters.
And right now they're hoping he's going to be real good against one of the former good guys, Ryan Ludwig. 0 for 2 with a walk and run scored and hit by a pitch.
He was robbed back in the 9th inning by David Freese on a line shot. One ball, one strike with one out, nobody on.
Augenstein, nice easy motion, but he's 6'6", 230.
Ludwig in the air to right. John Jay on the move. Makes the catch on the run near the line.
Long run for John Jay, but we talked that good outfielder, little slider away from him, and hits it out there. Long run. John Jay, very capable of playing all three outfield positions, and in spring was at times sensational.
Pitch taken for a strike. With 2 outs and nobody on by Chase Headley, the switch hitter. Cardinals will have David Freese, Yadier Molina, and Skip Schumacher looking ahead to the bottom half of this inning. Off-speed pitch and a base hit into right. A 2-out hit, and it brings in Maven, who tied the game with 2 outs in the 9th. Augenstein is 6'6", 230 pounds.
And he did make 7 appearances, a couple starts in 09. Last season, really not real good. It was 22 starts for Reno. But Dave Duncan saw a little something in spring training. You know, he's from the windup, he was positioning his toe at one side of the rubber, and he got him to move a little bit more to the middle. And it's helped him better with his location, hitting his spots. Sometimes a new coach, you know, you've got a clean slate, you can impress somebody, and that was what happened with Brian. And nice to see him make this roster, and he's intriguing.
Chilly day here at the ballpark. 46,000. Outfield deep, no doubles defense. 2 balls and 1 strike. Short lead at first. Into the right side, base hit. Schumacher was playing more towards the bag at second. It squeaks by. And it's runners at first and third. Now they're going to try to score. They do. On a misplay, and the ball coming back into the infield. And San Diego leads it 4-3.
Maben might have hurt himself, the runner at second base, but Headley scores the go-ahead run. I don't know if he tried to change direction. I kind of had my head down watching the play at the plate. And Maben maybe coming out of here. Here you see the ball come back in, hit the cutoff man, and Terrio messes it up. It's an E6. And then when the ball got away from Molina, Maben went to second base. But here's Headley coming across with a go-ahead run. Not exactly a patented head-first slide. But watch Maben. Just kind of hurt himself with that false step. It's tough running the bases, huh?
The Padres lead it now 4-3. Cameron Maben tied the game up and now gets a base hit that allows Headley to score.
Cedric Hunter.
It's an error on Terrio.
Watch Molina's left leg. It's going to be a play. Going to try to throw that leg out there to block him.
Now the error is on Terrio, but that's a throw that John Jay would probably tell you he could take 10 out of 10 and throw it at his chest.
Throw it at his chest. Hit him in the chest instead of easing up there and bouncing it. And then it's stayed down on Terrio and got by him.
It's a routine play that's obviously got to be made.
Well, in Dan, we saw a lot of those routine plays cost victories last season. It's fundamentals that they were worked when we know they worked on them in spring.
And Augenstein came in and got the first two. Then it was a base hit by Headley. Base hit by Maben. And it's added up to a 4-3 lead. This is hit down the left field line. Hooking and out of play. Again, I mean, that's an easy throw for a major leaguer to make back into the infield.
And that's it. Just trying to make it too easy instead of going out there with good fundamentals and throwing the ball through the cutoff man. You know, throw with something forceful.
Up the middle, an insurance run will score here. Makes it 5-3 San Diego. 3 consecutive base hits.
And then you had a very similar throw by Kobe Rasmus right there back into the infield. Cedric Hunter, making his major league debut, scored a run.
And the first pitch is a strike. A 2-run lead for San Diego.
It's Gonzalez pinch hitting for the pitcher.
Fly ball into left center. On the move, Rasmus, and he'll make the catch in front of Holiday. Extra innings, we roll on to the bottom of the 11th, and San Diego has a lead. The closer for the San Diego Padres.
He was second in saves with just 47, but he was the Rolaids relief man of the year. As of his 6-1 record, ERA under 2, 67 games with 47 saves. And he was a great setup man to Trevor Hoffman. And then when Hoffman moved on, well, you see the last 2 seasons, Heath Bell with 89, Brian Wilson, who had 48, Cordero had 48 saves, and Brian Wilson has 86 over the last 2 seasons.
Here's David Freese. He'll lead it off. The Cardinals down by 2.
Bell's father was a Marine, and it's pretty much here I come. Let's go play hardball.
With 42 saves in 2009, 47 a year ago. He was an all-star when the game was held here in St. Louis. Last year, with the 47 saves, he also mixed in an ERA of 1.93.
And Lloyd had 3 blown saves also, so
86 strikeouts and 70 innings of work.
Kind of hard to believe that he was a walk-on for his college baseball team.
It's amazing, huh?
And then he earned All-American honors. And his grandfather was a scout in the Pirates organization, so you'd think they'd have baseball ties.
Acquired from the Mets along with Royce Ring, the lefty that we know, in exchange for Ben Johnson and John Atkins back in 2006. What a trade by the Padres.
Isn't it fun to go back and look at some of the trades?
Here's a ground ball to second, handled easily by Hudson for the first out. Here's Yadier Molina. Taking a look at this game, certainly one of missed opportunities for the Cardinals. Sloppy defense at times.
Well, it's just a lot of little things that we saw last year that where I felt they were the best team in the division, but obviously they fell 5 games back by having a bad September. I'm not going to worry about the bad day that Albert had. I think he's due one in 11 years. But little things, lack of timely hitting, just a base running mistake here, a fielding mistake there. Little things just have contributed to right now what is a 5-3 deficit.
And a ground ball that's hit to short. Molina retired. You see that Bartlett is a slick fielder. He showed us right there, circling the baseball and making that play.
Well, it's interesting, that they know they got a big ballpark, so they really tried to upgrade their defense up the middle, where the Cardinals have tried to go, well, we maybe sacrifice a little defense for increased offense. We'll see which formula works best.
2 outs, and the final hope is Skip Schumacher. Schumacher is struck out, grounded into a double play, singled, and grounded out to second. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Schumacher to short. It's caught, and this game is over. The Padres were down to their final out in the 9th. Cameron Maybin ties it up, and they win it in extra innings. 11 innings, and the Padres win opening day here in St. Louis. The final of 5-3 post-game show coming up next.